I think it's very easy to get caught up in the idea like this is the biggest thing that we have ever passed, and it's probably the only thing that we've ever passed in terms of climate.
Factually, it's true. It is the biggest thing we've ever passed for climate change.
And look, if you measure it through just the very top line of like, and it really does depend on, you know, what you perceive to be the point of a bill like this, which is reducing our carbon emissions. There's a bunch of different ways in which you can go towards that. And this is obviously, because of the nature of our government and our society at this point, like one of the most sort of market-based ways that you can do it. Now, there is a huge amount of government investment involved in this, and the returns are there in terms of emissions.
That's what I was trying to get at.
We see the returns in terms of emissions, but we're not necessarily there in terms of like what we get beyond that.
Well, we saw it from the CHIPS bill too, right? Which is just like, you know, we want to do, that's more of a straightaway giveaway where we're going to give billions of dollars for this kind of manufacturing. This puts it more in consumers' hands, I guess. But I feel like there's a lot of, you know, faith in the market and demand side economics there that is, I don't know. I hope it works. I just want, you know, that to be fleshed out before we hail this as the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah. And I think like, look, it's hard to assess what impacts what will impact our politics in terms of like having the oil industry maybe not as prominent 10 or 15 years ago, 10 or 15 years from now. Maybe, you know, Exxon is at that point, like they have transitioned into solar and wind, and they have outsized influence on our government because they're an outsized corporation. It's very hard to assess these things. In an alternate world, but one, and this was never in Build Back Better, we should also remind you, in an alternate world, the U.S. government says, we're not going to incentivize people to build solar farms. We're going to build solar farms. And we're not going to incentivize people to provide a prevailing wage. We're just going to pay a prevailing wage.
And to the extent that we need fossil fuels, we own those industries now, and we decide that. It's not based on the whims.
Exactly. There is a lot of like, but that's not where we're at. And
remember that Rumsfeld quote, you go to war with the army you have?
Exactly.
It's like you go to war with the Democrats you have. And this is what you would expect from the Democrats we currently have.
Yes. And with that said, like, look, if we can get to 50% reduction by 2030, that's a big deal. It's a big deal in terms of like the sort of one of the primary concerns, which is try and help the world not go through a massive upheaval in terms of civilization.
Yeah. Also, no hovercrafts included in this legislation, which sucks.